Hi there, it's Asia. A very important decision. A really beautiful house. I am so cold. Do you often use words very, really, and so in English? There is a problem with these words. They add little to what you want to say and they make your English seem weaker. Ironically, they are known as intensifiers and they're used when the adjective is too weak. Imagine you tell your friend, "You have a nice house." That's not enough. Then you say, "You have a very nice house." But if you said, "You have a magnificent house," or "You have an amazing house," you wouldn't even be tempted to say a very magnificent or a very amazing house, right? Because the adjective is strong. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways to get rid of very, really, and so to make your English appear stronger in IELTS writing and speaking. And I also have a PDF with extra material for you to download. Ready? Let's get started! The first way to avoid using very, really, and so is to use a stronger adjective on the first place. And I'm going to give you a number of those adjectives you could use instead of the most common ones we often abuse as non-native speakers. The first one is very difficult. You could say exhausting. That's something that makes you physically tired. Let's say commuting from a suburb to the city center every day is very difficult or so difficult. You could say it's exhausting. You could also say arduous. That's something that requires a lot of energy or effort. It's a very difficult task, or it's an arduous task. It's an arduous journey. The next one is big, very nice. Have you seen this embarrassing movie called Borat? He's supposed to be from Kazakhstan, like me. And in the movie, he often said, "Oh, nice," or "very nice." And it's funny for native speakers because they don't say that. So here's what you could say instead of very nice. Well, first of all, pleasant and delightful. Recently, I've spent a very nice weekend in Seville, or recently, I've spent a pleasant weekend or a delightful weekend in Seville. Can you hear how much better the phrase sounds when you don't repeat very over and over again? You could also say charming if you talk about people. They're such nice people, or they're very nice people. You could say they're charming or they're delightful people. And I'm guilty of using the next one a lot. Very cute. You have a very cute child, or you have a very cute dog. You could say adorable. He was adorable as a child, or the dog is adorable. The next one is very good, and I'm going to give you a decent selection of words. The first one is excellent. It's very versatile. You can use it in lots of different situations. His English is very good, or his English is excellent. You can say outstanding. Passing this exam is an outstanding achievement. So basically, we would say a very big achievement, not a very good achievement, but you get what I mean. Outstanding is a good word. Magnificent and splendid. The view from the terrace is magnificent, or it's splendid. Some adjectives are informal. It means you can use them in IELTS speaking, but not in IELTS writing, unless you write a letter to a friend in IELTS General Task 1. These are terrific, awesome, top-notch, and superb. The facilities at the hotel are superb. That's great for IELTS speaking. Very bad. You could say dreadful. It's a strong word. The consequences of this decision could be dreadful. Awful or terrible. I feel so bad forgetting about her birthday. Or I feel terrible. I feel awful about it. Some adjectives are formal, so they're great for IELTS writing, and you should be careful about how you use them in IELTS speaking, even though you can use them. Unsatisfactory, inadequate, and unacceptable. The service we received at your restaurant was unsatisfactory. That would be perfect for a complaint letter. Very beautiful. You could say gorgeous. The bride was gorgeous, or the weather is gorgeous. Very important. You could say critical. It means extremely important because it affects the future. Reducing the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is critical to the future of the human race. Or you could say crucial. This one is extremely important because it affects other things. Let's say parents play a crucial role in preparing their children for school. You can also say high priority. The next is very angry. In informal situations, you could say furious. I want to change my job. I'm furious about the way I've been treated. A formal version would be deeply unsatisfied. It would be perfect for a complaint letter. I am deeply unsatisfied about the way I have been treated at my workplace. Very cold is freezing. Freezing winters are common in this area. You can also say freezing cold. It's freezing cold today. And you can use it to talk about yourself. I don't have my coat and I'm freezing. Very hot is boiling or scorching. We sometimes have scorching or boiling weather in summer. You can say scorching hot as well. But when you talk about yourself, you say boiling. I wish I'd worn something lighter or something cooler. I'm boiling. Very clean is spotless. I love to see my kitchen spotless. Very dirty is filthy. Tourists were appalled at the filthy conditions or by the filthy conditions. And very funny is hilarious. Her jokes are hilarious. Very happy is ecstatic. It means you're happy and you show it. Or overjoyed. I was ecstatic about my new job or at my new job. You can use them in the negative meaning. And my former colleague was not exactly overjoyed at the news. But if you want to use an adjective before a noun, you have to use ecstatic. An ecstatic crowd. You can't say an overjoyed crowd. You would have to say the crowd was overjoyed. An informal version is to be over the moon. I was over the moon when I saw my IELTS result. Hope you say this soon. Very clear is obvious. It soon became obvious that it was not the best solution. Very tasty is delicious. The meal was delicious, or the recipe sounds delicious. Very simple is basic. The interview lasted for 14 minutes and I was asked a few basic questions. I'm not sure if it's a bad sign. What do you think? Very worried is distressed. It means worried and upset. I was distressed by the news of his speedy departure. And if you're worried and nervous, it's anxious. Parents are naturally anxious about their children. Very, really, and so are very simple intensifiers. You could use more high-level intensifiers instead. These are extremely, absolutely, deeply, amazingly, exceptionally, incredibly, completely, particularly, totally, utterly, remarkably, and unusually. With adjectives which are called strong, you wouldn't be able to use very at all. Let's say you can't say a very terrible decision, but you can say an absolutely terrible idea. Or a very brilliant child. No, an exceptionally brilliant child. Yes. Other adjectives can be used with both. Let's say a very difficult decision is an extremely difficult decision. Or a very important problem is a particularly important problem. But you need to know which intensifier you can use with a certain adjective. Let's say you can't say a totally difficult decision or a completely important problem. It makes no sense. What if you don't know which intensifier to use? Well, the solution is simple. Leave it out. A very simple solution would become a simple solution, and a very strong connection, a strong connection. It sounds much better. The problem often lies in using adjectives which are either too simple or overused. And I have a PDF that contains synonyms for 20 most common adjectives used in IELTS writing, and those are applicable for IELTS speaking too. Feel free to download it, and thank you for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!